Alright, this is us in a room that involves voting, apparently. I don't know who we're voting for. And this is the rules, apparently. And this is a ballot box, and this is a curtain, or a voting booth, and this is, some pamphlets, and this is a registration book, and this is a flyer, and this is a sign. This is some guy who has a slick-ass hat. Alright, start the timer. Here we go. And if you're still here, Mossmas, thanks for stopping by. Hopefully this isn't a spoiler, but have a great... We might be done with this. We might be done with this tonight. We'll see. I don't know.
I thought they were trying to encourage people to vote. With all these rules, it's a wonder anyone bothers.
Oh, I can't look at the rules?
An ad for a brothel. At least they seem to know their audience. Yeah, at least you're already registered to vote. Having to go through that bureaucratic nightmare tonight would have just added insult to injury. A list of fools who think their opinion will actually make a difference.
Excuse me.
Yes, how may I help you?
Could you remind me what the candidates stand for?
You mean to tell me you've come to vote without knowing who to vote for?
No, I've just had a lot on my mind.
Well, if you need a basic breakdown of each candidate's platform, there are some pamphlets on the table over there. Feel free to browse them at your leisure.
Right. Thank you. Where is everybody?
I'm not sure. I was told to expect large crowds, but so far we haven't had more than about 50 people in here. The polls have only been open for a couple of hours, though. I imagine things will pick up around 8 o'clock.
Or it could just be that everyone has come to their senses and isn't wasting their time.
I'll just go cast my ballot then.
Very good, Mr. Fordham.
Re-elect Herbert Atwood, citizens of New Britain. No, a vote for Atwood is a vote for progress. The truth of the matter is that STEAM technology is a necessity in our modern lives. Prime Minister Atwood vows to fund etheric research and build a better, prosperous future. Don't be fooled by the lies and confusions of the ignorant masses. Bring Vespucia into the future. Let's Leroy. Citizens of New Britannia, do you want to be replaced by a machine? Have you or someone you love been injured or killed by steam tech? Is it hard to understand how anyone could fall for the ethericity lie? Then vote Hart Leroy, the man of the people. We find ourselves at a crossroads. Politicians and con artists are trying to play you for a fool. The true future of Vespucia lies at the sweat of its workers. Don't fall for the lies and flights of fancy. Steam tech is not the solution. Hart Leroy will ensure that jobs are kept and strive to create even more of them. Keep your head out of the clouds and your feet on the ground. Vote Leroy. Well, you know, apparently there's one position. There's the pro Steam tech and the anti-Steam tech. That's it. Pro Steam tech, anti-Steam tech. Pro Steam tech, anti-Steam tech. Those are our options. All right. I'm ready. Let's vote. Wait. Oh yeah, it was Herbert. I don't know. His name's Herbert. I don't know. I don't know if I trust somebody with the name of Herbert. Herbert the pervert. He's probably doing something with the Steam tech that maybe shouldn't be done. We'll vote for Herbert. What the heck? It's not like one vote matters.
That's taken care of. Thankfully, the Angel isn't a polling place, so we can still have a nice quiet evening.
Oh, no.
My one vote decided the election. Oh yeah, I forgot I got thrown out of my house.
What? My head is pounding. Damn withdrawal.
Actually, I think someone's knocking at the door.
Oh, right.
Is it the boogeyman?
Good afternoon, miss. If you're looking for Miss Upton, I'm afraid she's not in right now.
No, I've already spoken with Miss Upton. I'm looking for Mr. Miles Fordham.
Oh, I see. Well, I'm Miles Fordham. What can I do for you, Miss...
Mrs. Emily Morgan. I have a problem, you see. Miss Upton said you'd be able to help.
I suppose you'd better come in. So, what seems to be the trouble?
It's my brother, Ronan Lespay. He was murdered 4 nights ago outside a tavern in the Chum.
Murder? Murder most foul.
On election night?
Yes, I suppose it was.
Could you please tell me what happened?
The police took his body to the mortuary and investigated the crime scene, but they're out of ideas. I've been down there at the station every day, but they don't seem to care enough to look into it any further. All they've been able to determine was that it wasn't a robbery, and that the clothes he was wearing weren't his. My brother was a good man, Mr. Fordham. He would never have willingly gone to that part of town. I need to know why he was murdered, and I want whoever did it to pay for it.
Very well, Mrs. Morgan. I'll take your case.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Fordham.
I just need to know where your brother was killed, and where I might be able to contact you.
He was found outside the Silent Raven. It's on Alewife Avenue, on the west side of the Chum. Here, take this. It's a photo of Ronan.
No.
It might help your investigation.
Oh no!
What'd I get?
And if you need to speak with me, you can come to my husband's bakery. It's here in Worcester, at 15 Drummond Street.
Very good. I'll begin my investigation right away.
Thank you again, Mr. Fordham. You have no idea how much this means to me.
Murder most foul. Later. Oh, or not.
Well, this case has our names written all over it. Maybe it'll be good practice for finding the man who caused my death, eh?
Whatever. Oh, it's another newspaper. Let's look at it. What's going on? Hart Leroy continues. Oh, the person we voted for lost. Oh, I don't think our vote mattered. The person we voted for lost. He won with over 73% of the vote. Because people are anti-Steam Tech. Class action sue, we already knew that was gonna happen. And looks like this, is this the case that we're investigating? I think so. Foul play was initially suspected, and our detective that was indeed the case. The suspect has been arrested and is waiting trial. Oh wait. Wait, no, that's the case we solved. That's the case we just solved. I have a Steam Deck, and it is pretty cool. I admit I haven't played it in a while, but it is pretty cool. It's got its problems, but I'm guessing they're gonna get solved as time goes on.
To think, in an instant, a man's life can be reduced to some scribbles on the filthy pavement.
Now's not the time to get poetic, Bill.
I don't even know if you have to hack it. That's the thing. I don't think you even have to hack it. I think Valve is
What a
like
mess.
very open about it.
It's an ad for whiskey. Or perhaps paint thinner. Sometimes it can be hard to tell the difference. Their mascot seems to be a raven with a glowing red eye. Is that meant to attract customers or to scare them off?
I mean,
This grog shop looks pretty rough, even by chum standards. Best keep a low profile while you're in here, Miles.
I mean, it may be like a little bit of, you know, stuff you have to do to it, but Valve is not going to stop you. They don't really care. They've always been pretty open about their stuff. Like, when Valve makes stuff, it's usually pretty open.
Doesn't look like cleaning up is high on the list of priorities around here.
Well, I can't talk to this guy. I guess I can just talk to her. There might be I may be able to go over there.
Excuse me, barmaid?
Hi, what do you need?
You know a man named Ronan Lespay?
Nah, never heard of him.
He was killed here 4 nights ago. The man in this ferrotype.
Oh, that one. Well, I never saw him before that night, and I didn't talk to him. You with the police or something?
No, not at all. I'm just trying to help his sister find out what happened.
So are you done with the questions? Can I get you a drink or what?
Yeah, she's a shrewd businesswoman. You at least have to give her that.
Were you working on election night?
Pal, I'm here most every night.
So that's a yes, then?
Christ on a cracker, you ain't too bright, are you? Yes, I was here on election night.
There's no need to be rude about it, madam. Tell me what you know about the murder that took place outside on election night.
Listen, chum, do you know how busy we were that night? This was a polling place. We had gents coming in and out for hours, not to mention the regular clientele. I was up to my ass in drink orders and was running the shift all by myself. Had to break up God knows how many fights, too. So you'll excuse me if I didn't exactly notice something that happened out on the street.
Did you at least hear the gunshot?
No, I didn't. You try distinguishing a gunshot over a room full of rowdy voters. It ain't gonna happen.
What can you tell me about this place?
It's a bar. People come here to drink. Sometimes people drink too much, and then they're sick all over. I get the honor of cleaning up the mess.
Sounds like you're not too pleased with your job.
I never said that. There may be rough days, but there's a lot worse I could be
cleaning
doing.
up
Here,
puke.
I get a place to sleep and a bit to eat and a few coins in my pocket if the customers are pleased. And you are pleased, ain't you, sir?
Oh, yes. Yes, of course I am.
Good.
You mentioned regular clientele. Who are they?
Oh, we get plenty of regulars in here, too many to name.
Which of them were here on election night?
Let me think. I remember seeing 3 of the usual crowd. There was Darius, up to no good as always.
Darius.
Then there was Singin' Tom, but he wasn't around for too long. And how could I forget old Cormac?
Cormac!
He'd talk my ear off if I'd let him.
Sound like an interesting bunch of folks.
Maybe they were punching each other, you know? Like, and it was so loud it was like gunshots.
Where might I find the landlord?
You won't find him anywhere. He doesn't come around here more than once a month.
What can you tell me about Darius?
Hey now, bucko. You've come in here asking me all these questions, but I ain't seen nothing from you. You want more information? You're gonna have to earn it.
Right. Give me a gin, then.
Coming right up.
Don't get carried away now, Miles.
There you are. 1 gin. That'll be 2 shillings.
There's 3. Now then, about Darius.
Now that man is trouble. I've had to throw him out a few times.
Why do you say he's trouble?
His mind's affected by the poppy seed. He can be gentle as a kitten or fly into a rage at a moment's notice. When he gets rowdy,
Coulda done
he
it.
gets chucked.
I see. Any idea where I might be able to find him?
Don't know why you'd want to find him, but I hear he spends his day at a smokehouse nearby. I believe it's on Crisparkle Lane. Just look for the door with the oriental symbols above it.
And could you describe him to me?
He's a rough-looking sort, about 55 years old, has a scar on his left cheek, grayish hair, medium build.
Excellent. Thank you. Who is singing Tom?
Ah, Tom. Not sure what his surname is, but he's in here about twice a week. We call him Singing Tom because he leads the church choir.
Is that right? Which
Wow,
church?
creative.
Oh, I haven't a clue. Never really cared to ask.
Does he associate with any of the other regulars?
I've seen him talking with Darius a few times. They seem to be on friendly terms.
Cool. What about this?
Tell me about Cormac.
He's in here most every night.
All I had to
Doesn't
do was
speak
buy a
to many
gin.
people, just me. And a right chatterbox he is, too. Between you and me, Cormac stinks. I can understand why he doesn't keep much company.
Like he actually stinks?
Aye, he's a sewer
Oh.
worker. Spends all his day underground in the muck, so he always reeks of shit.
I see.
Gross.
Any idea where specifically he works?
I believe he's at the treatment station, over near the ferry terminal.
If this is going where I think it is, then I'm especially glad I can't smell anything anymore.
Have you worked here long?
13 years.
I see. Anything else you can tell me about yourself?
I ain't the friendly type.
Right. Understood.
I've seen less friendly people.
Any thoughts on the election?
Nah, couldn't care less, really. Doesn't matter who's in charge. My life ain't getting any better.
But it can certainly get worse with Leroy in office.
We'll see.
I appreciate you taking the time to chat.
Yeah.
Yeah, buddy. Yeah. There's not much to do in here. We just got information on where the 3 people are that we can talk to. Let's talk to the stinky person first. You think let's...
It's an ad for whiskey. Or perhaps paint thinner. Sometimes it can be hard to tell the difference.
Let's talk to Stinky McStinkerston. Stinky.
So this is what it's come to, eh? Braving the stench of human waste in hopes of finding a lead. Just make sure you stay away from the edge. Some sort of water treatment device would be my guess. For all I know, it could just be a fancy boiler for tea.
Begging your pardon, sir.
What? Who are you? What are you doing down here?
My name's Miles Fordham, and I'm a private investigator. I'm looking for a sewer worker by the name of Cormac.
You needn't look no further. But what is this about?
I just have a few questions for you.
All right. Cormac will answer them, but don't dally for too long. It can be dangerous down here for anyone who's not trained as Cormac is.
You know a man named Ronan Lespay?
Cormac knows few men. People don't much like talking to a man who spends his days in the sewers. Can't really blame him for it. It's hard to get a stink off, so why bother even trying?
You didn't answer my question, though. Do you know Ronan Lespay or not?
Could you describe him? Cormac's got a better memory for faces than for names.
I have his portrait. Here, have a look.
Ah, yes. Cormac saw this fellow recently.
On election night?
That's right. He come into the bar, voted, went out. Looked drunk to Cormac, but then everyone at that place usually is.
Do you frequent a pub called the Silent Raven?
Yes. The Raven is where Cormac goes to forget about the day's
He's
work.
talking with
The barmaid,
he's
Nicole,
talking about himself
she's a
in
good
third
sort.
person.
We likes talking about the ponies down at the track. Nikki loves her some racing. She gives Cormac drinks for cheap in exchange for odd jobs. Nice to have your own personal sewer man, I suppose. She's really the only one Cormac talks to. There's a few others Cormac sees often, but Cormac hasn't spoken with them.
Ripes. This guy goes on and on, doesn't he? To be fair, you were warned.
Can you trust somebody who talks about themselves in the third person? I don't know.
Do you know anything about the murder that took place outside the Silent Raven on election night?
Murder? Ah, yes. The commotion out in the alleyway.
That's right. Did you see or hear anything?
It was a touch noisy that night, what with all the election stuff happening, but Cormac remembers the sound of the gun. One shot, and then shouting and hollering from the bar. A few people run outside to look at what happened, but Cormac just stayed in his seat and finished his whiskey.
So you didn't see the man who was shot, or who shot him?
No, keeps to himself, Cormac does. Makes life easier that way.
Could he be any more unhelpful? Actually, it's probably best not to find out.
The bar woman said she didn't hear the gunshot, so I think she lied.
Is it difficult being a sewer worker?
Difficult?
But why?
Nah, it's a dream.
Why would she
Especially
lie
since
about
they
that?
introduced all these steam tech treatments and purification whatsits. The only thing Cormac's got to do is check the little dial never goes into the red on old Belinda.
Belinda?
Aye, the purifier. She's a real special lady who's made Cormac's life so much brighter. Cormac makes sure to thank her each and every day.
Wonderful. We're talking to a lunatic.
Wasn't so easy a few years ago. Back then it was tapping on pipes all day.
Tapping on pipes?
To make sure they was flowing fine and not blocked. Cormac would take his little hammer and tap, tap, tap on the pipes to make sure they was ringing fine. You can imagine what that was like. Tap, tap, tap. Ring, ring, ring. All day, up and down, over and over. The tapping stopped, but the ringing never left. Still hears it to this day, Cormac does.
Do you have any opinions regarding the election?
Cormac hears lots of things about Atwood, but he's the one what's got this new machinery put into the sewer system. It's still a job for Cormac, so all that talk about being replaced by machines is just talk, for now. But Leroy says he wants to give the workers their fair chance, so Cormac can't argue with that. What about you?
I would have preferred Atwood stay in office myself.
Bah, they's all the same in the end. One way or another. No point worrying, says old Cormac.
I'll let you return to your work.
Be mindful on your way out.
Another mysterious device. I was happier not knowing all this went on after I used the commode.
Let's not fall in. Ah, we didn't fall in. It's a close call. Silent Raven. Wait. There are 3 people, but I only see 2 places. Oh, wait. I'm confused now.
What a mess.
Alright, let's go to the Opium Den, I guess. Oh, this is the place she told us about.
Yes? What do you want?
I'm looking for a man named Darius. I believe he may be inside.
Yeah, I don't know anybody with that name. So if that's all you wanted, get lost.
My name is Miles Fordham, and I'm a private investigator. I demand you let me in the name of the law.
The law? Is this your idea of a joke?
Yes.
No, as I said, I'm a private investigator.
Then I really don't have to let you in. You bothered me enough. Get out of here!
Something tells me we won't be getting in there anytime soon.
I'll agree with that.
No answer.
Don't blame me, I voted for Kodos. Yeah.
I wonder how many
Exactly.
layers of advertisements you'd have to cut through before getting to the wall.
7. Alright, I'm gonna talk to her about the whole gunshot thing because I feel like she lied to us.
She doesn't seem...
Oh, well, never mind then. Guess we'll go to the bakery.
All right, Mr. Chavez. The cake and muffins come to a total of 6 crowns, 10 shillings.
There you are, Mrs. Morgan. And thank you again. Barbara is going to love this.
My pleasure. Enjoy.
Pardon me, sir.
I'm sure Barbara will enjoy them, the cow. Ah, Mr. Fordham. Welcome.
Thank you, Mrs. Morgan.
You shouldn't have said that out loud. The heck?
Have you got time for a few more questions, Mrs. Morgan?
Yes, of course.
What can you tell me about your brother?
Ronan was the best brother anyone could have asked for. He took care of me after our parents died. Carriage accident. I was only 9 and he was 13. Ronan went out and found work. and managed to support the both of us. He was just a child himself, but he kept us out of the gutter. Or worse, the workhouse.
How did you hear of his death?
Ronan comes by to visit me every day after he finishes work. When he didn't come for 2 days in a row, I got worried. I went to his apartment, but he wasn't there. So I made a report to the police. Yesterday, they contacted me and asked me to come to the mortuary.
I'm terribly sorry for your loss, Mrs. Morgan.
Thank you, Mr. Fordham. Please, find whoever did this to him. Ronan deserved so much better.
What do you know about your brother's murder?
Only what the police told me. He was shot at close range outside that pub in the Chum. Nothing was missing, and his wallet had money in it, so they said it wasn't a robbery. I didn't recognize the clothes he was wearing. I had never seen them before, and they were far too big for him. I still can't believe he's gone. He was the only family I had left.
Dr. Edwards at the mortuary might be able to give us some more detailed information. The only thing we'll get out of this one is more tears.
What sort of life did Ronan lead?
You know, just normal. He'd go to work, come visit me afterwards, and go home. He didn't have much of a social life. At least he never mentioned any friends to me. I always hoped Ronan would meet a nice girl to settle down with, but he was so shy, you know.
Where did Ronan work?
At the Grips Home Taxidermy Shop in Gascone. I always thought it was rather macabre work, but he enjoyed it. Bit lonely, though.
Can you give me the address of Ronan's apartment?
It's at 1172 Bushmill Street. I have a spare key.
That would be most helpful. Thank you. So, this is your bakery.
More leads.
My husband Gerald and I have had it for almost 10 years.
Is it just the two of you? Do you have any children?
Alas, no. Some extra hands would be most welcome in the kitchen, but we haven't yet been blessed. It's such a shame that Ronan never got to be an uncle.
What are your thoughts on the outcome of the election?
Oh, I haven't given it much thought, to be honest. It hardly seems to matter now.
Yes, of course. My apologies for bringing it up. Those are all the questions I have for now.
All right, Mr. Fordham.
All right, we got multiple leads there, too. That's good. So let's get out of here. All right. Let's go to his apartment first.
Quite the collection of exotic items in here. Ronan appears to be a seasoned world traveler.
Or at least knows someone who is.
Just looking at this painting is making me feel seasick. Locked, naturally. This mask looks African. You should try it on. It'd be an improvement. This one is scarier than the other masks. Wait a moment. I think I saw something shiny in the back of the mouth.
Key.
How about that? A perfect hiding place for a key.
I knew it.
Some kind of owl mask.
I knew it.
Now to find out what Mr. Lespay finds so precious. Looks like you found Ronan's journal. Perhaps this will be able to give us some more insight into what he was up to before he died.
Let's see. November 9th, 1843. I have an uneasy feeling of dread today. Last night I had a frightening dream where fire rained from the sky and people were afflicted with an awful disease. I'm just going to focus on my work today. Perhaps the feeling will pass. November 9th, 1843. I have an Last night I had a I'm just going to
That's
focus
not
on my
very
work
random.
today.
That's not random at all.
June 17th, 1843. Someone brought in a rare big-eared hopping mouse from Australia yesterday. Stuffing it was quite a challenge, as the organs were difficult to remove without damaging the body. I think I'd rather not read about Ronan's taxidermy process any further. October 21st, 1843. The air is growing cold, and is reminding me that I need to purchase a new pair of boots for the winter.
AJ Frisbee,
I don't think
how's
this
it
entry
going?
will be of much interest. March 11th, 1844. I must have eaten something last night which didn't agree with me because I've had a terrible case of the runs.
Probably best to skip this one.
Agreed. June 17th, 1840. Stuff.
All right.
Ooh, this teacup could use a washing. I'd be surprised if it isn't permanently stuck to the desk. They appear to be a pair of letters from Ronan's landlord.
With regards to your request for an extension to pay this month's rent, I'll gladly give you until next month. You have always been a reliable tenant who has paid on time, so don't be concerned. I hope you resolve your issues. And then, several months later, I understand we all go through financial difficulties, but I'm afraid I cannot extend my generosity beyond the end of 2 months. Please have the rent ready by then, or I will have no choice but to seek legal action against you.
This one appears to be from Emily.
Gerald and I will be celebrating the new year, and I would like to invite you to spend it with us. Please feel free to bring along any guests you'd like, especially any lady friends you might have. All my love, Emily. There's a spot on the desk.
A model of the SS Joondalup. Looks like a merchant vessel to me.
All right.
It's
drawers.
Too bad.
Oh.
A letter from someone called Jimbo?
Jimbo Jones? Next week will be a year since we met. I can honestly say my life has changed for the better in every possible way, and I will always hold July 8th as a special day in my heart. I can't wait to see you again. Jimbo. Interesting.
Ooh.
Jimbo.
Ronan's book collection mostly consists of cheap pulp adventure novels, but this top shelf looks interesting.
Opium use. At the turn of the century, the travels to the Orient would often serve out more exotic pleasures, which is to say opium. Nowadays, the influx of immigrants from China and Vespuccia has caused a significant drop in the type of tourism, as many opium dens have appeared, with some even known to exist as far east as New Britannia. In any case, opium dens are open to all who seek to indulge, known colloquially as riding the dragon. The use of opium recreationally for relaxation or as a social activity is a common pastime. Okay, if you're offered wine, make sure you understand what exactly it is you're about to drink. Chances are it might be baijiu, a clear liquid, usually distilled from fermented whatever, although other grains may be used. Southern China versions may employ glutinous rice, while northern Chinese varieties use wheat, barley, millet, or even job tears instead of sorghum. The starter culture uses the process of mash is usually, as a foreigner, it might be a shocking experience. It's been known to be used as a way of proving oneself in a group. This high concentration of alcohol is often too much for anyone not used to it. Exercise caution. The last thing you want to do is end up face down in the back of an alley. There's a kangaroo and a koala. Oh, there's a rhino and an elephant.
It's in another language, but it appears to be a Bible. No title, and it appears to be blank. I wonder if Ronan just kept empty books on his shelf to appear well read.
Alright.
Ronan wasn't too concerned with comfort, apparently. This is hardly bigger than a bunk at sea. I guess Ronan won't be realizing his world travel dreams now. Death really has a way of messing up your plans. I had an illustration that looked similar to that one. I wonder where it ended up.
Hey, Brave Star. Alright, did we get anything? I guess we can talk to his...
I was beginning to wonder when you'd show up.
Well, wonder no longer. I'm here and I need to see Dr. Edwards.
Oh, I see how it is. He helped you solve a case, and now you don't have time for us lowly front desk clerks.
That's just the way it goes, Upton. Maybe next time you should pick a nicer coffee house.
Right. You know the way. Snelling isn't in today, so you're all clear.
Well, that's a relief. Thanks, Upton.
smelling, more like smelling. Because he's stinky.
I hope I'm not interrupting anything, Edwards.
Ah, Fordham. Always a pleasure.
Have you got time for some questions?
Of course.
So what can you tell me about Ronan Lespay?
Caucasian male, approximately 27 years old. Died of blood loss as a result of being shot at close range. He was brought in 4 nights ago. I performed the post-mortem the following day. After that, his next of kin was contacted. I believe his sister came to identify the body.
Any personal opinions on what might have happened?
Well, the fact he was shot at such a close range would suggest it was done by someone he knew. And robbery doesn't appear to be a motive, since his wallet was found on the body with money in it. Beyond that, your guess is as good as mine.
Better, I hope.
Did the post-mortem reveal anything?
Quite a few things, actually. Mr. Lespay was extremely inebriated when the shooting took place. There was enough alcohol in his blood to presume he had been drinking for hours before his death. I also managed to remove the bullet from his heart. It's a .36 caliber lead ball, standard revolver shot. It shouldn't be too hard to match to a weapon, provided you can find it.
Interesting.
Did you notice anything unusual about the clothes Mr. Lespay was wearing?
Unusual? Not really. They seemed a bit big for him, but that's all.
His sister seemed convinced that they didn't belong to him.
That's a distinct possibility, but I couldn't say for sure. He could have just been a sloppy dresser.
So no murder weapons been found?
That's right. Either the killer still has it, or the police just overlooked it. If you happen across any weapons in your investigation, be sure to bring them to me. I can tell you if it matches the bullet.
Thank you, Edwards. I'll be on the lookout. How's the coroner business?
Things have been pretty dead around here lately.
Don't quit your day job, Edwards. What are your thoughts on the election?
There was an election?
I think our friend Edwards needs to get out a bit more.
I'll be going now, Edwards.
Take care, Fordham. And remember, not everyone gets to leave the morgue alive. So consider yourself lucky that you can.
There was an election? Huh? Alright. I feel like we got something there. Maybe not exactly what we wanted, but we got something. Okay, let's go back to the bakery and talk to his sister again, because I feel like we might have other things we can say now.
Have you got time for a few more?
Yes.
Are you familiar with someone who goes by the name Jimbo?
No, I don't think so. Who is that?
A friend of Ronan's.
No, as I told you, I didn't know Ronan to have any friends. I especially don't recall him mentioning anyone called Jimbo.
Those are all the questions I have for now.
All right, Mr. Fordham.
Do you know anything about voodoo? Oh, taxidermy shop.
Hello, and welcome to the Gripsome Taxidermy Shop. Please let me know if I can be of service.
I was wondering if you might answer some questions for me.
Of course. What can I help you with?
I was told Ronan Lespay works here. Do you know him?
Ronan? Yes, of course. That is to say, I know he works here. I haven't had much interaction with him. He mostly keeps to himself.
Does he have an office or workspace I might have a look at?
Now, wait just a minute. Why would I let some random stranger off the street in to look at an employee's workspace?
Because I'm a private investigator and I'm trying to get some information.
Well, even if that is the case, I'm afraid you're out of luck. Ronan does have a workspace, but it's completely bare. He doesn't keep anything here.
Were you aware that Ronan was murdered 4 nights ago?
I had no idea. That's awful. What happened?
That's what I'm currently trying to find out. Do you know if Ronan had any enemies? Anyone who might want to do him harm?
No. As I said, I didn't speak with him much, or know much about him. But now that I think about it, I did notice a strange man waiting around outside the shop a few days ago.
Tell me about this strange man you saw.
Yeah!
At the time, I didn't think much of him. But the more I recall, the more I realize he was being very suspicious.
Suspicious?
He just stood outside across the street, but he seemed to be focusing on the building. It was as though he was waiting for someone.
Do you remember what this man looked like?
I didn't get a very good look at him, but I do remember some things. He was tall and had a heavy build, like a boxer or a dock worker. He had a beard, I think, or mutton chops at the very least. And as far as I can recall, he was wearing all black. He also had on some kind of cap. I'm sorry I can't give you a better description. but that's all I was able to distinguish. My eyesight isn't very good, I'm afraid.
It'll have to do. Thank you for your help. Anything you can tell me about the shop?
Plenty! This is New Britannia's most sophisticated taxidermy shop. Unlike other taxidermists, we work with modern technology to get results they could only dream of.
What does that mean exactly?
Using steam tech, we are able to create the illusion of life in these beasts. Just take a look at our floor samples. The parrot and gorilla are two of our finest works. They really speak for themselves. Well, the parrot does at least. I think it would frighten our customers if the gorilla did too. And once ethericity is harnessed as a viable source of energy, we'll get even better results.
This guy is way too excited about bringing dead things back to life.
Yes. Fascinating. Moving
yes. Fascinating.
on. So how did you get this job?
Oh, it isn't a terribly exciting story, I'm afraid. I just saw an ad in the Gazette for a clerk position. I never expected to learn so much about taxidermy.
I'm sure he's amazing conversation at parties.
Any thoughts on the recent election?
I'd really rather not talk about it. I don't know how the people of this country could put someone like Hart Leroy in charge.
I know what you mean. Leroy may be a champion of the common man, but Atwood's vision for the future is more important right now.
I couldn't agree more. Leroy wants to forsake all the technological advances of the last decade and take us back to the Dark Ages. Next thing you know, he'll be bringing slavery back.
I doubt he'd go to such extremes.
Perhaps we should drop the subject. I get a bit passionate when it comes to these sorts of things.
Thank you for your help.
I'm here to serve.
Interesting.
That leads into a room with even more dead things. It's such a shame we haven't the time to stick around and explore. Reminds me of the one in the Dupre house, except there's a small button on the base.
Welcome to the Gripzone Taxidermy Shop. Please enjoy our displays and be sure to consider us for all your taxidermy needs. Just a reminder, we stuff animals only.
I wonder how many people it took to bring down this brute. There's a small button on the base.
Push the buttons!
Just when I thought I'd seen it all. What will they think of next?
Yeah. Alright. Now where do we go? What's our case book say? Talk to Dr. Evers about the murder. We already did that. Search for his apartments for clues. We already did that, but apparently we haven't gotten everything. See if there's any more to find in here. Don't think there is.
A model?
I mean... There are two entries, one from this year and one from last.
So, start with last year's.
July 8th, 1843. I've decided I need to get out more, so I'm going to a club in Gascon tonight. Stuffing animals has taken its toll, and I need to talk to someone who isn't Emily or my coworkers. Gerald told me about a place called the Crimson Cat. I'll try it, and if I don't enjoy myself, I'll just come home. Now for this year's entry. July 8th, 1844. Today is our 1-year anniversary. We're going to meet at the Cat again. I love him, but I wish he wasn't so attached to that place. Emily is so nosy, I worry that she might follow me and discover the truth about Jimbo. If we moved around, I wouldn't worry, but with him, it's always the Crimson Cat. I really shouldn't complain, though. What we have is something truly special.
Well, it seems that our best hope of finding this Jimbo character is to visit the Crimson Cat.
That is a lead. Okay, but now we don't have investigate his place anymore, so it looks like we're done here. Crimson Cat, let's go here.
Ah, the Crimson Cat. One of my favorite underground clubs. Ooh, I spent some wild nights here. Which reminds me, I wonder if Stefan is still working the bar these days.
Beg your pardon. Your name wouldn't happen to be Jimbo, would it?
Yeah? Who's asking?
Miles Fordham, private investigator.
Can a guy enjoy his shore leave without being harassed by the law? I've done nothing wrong.
I didn't say you had, and I'm most certainly not the law. I just want to ask you a few questions.
All right, fine.
Do you know Ronan the Spey?
I knew him, yeah.
Knew him?
He and I haven't spoken recently. In about a month, actually. Things didn't go so well last time.
How do you mean?
Let's just say we didn't part on the best of terms. He made it very clear that he didn't want to speak to me again.
Were you aware that Ronan was murdered?
What? No, when? What happened?
He was shot outside a tavern in Chumley 4 nights ago.
Chumley? What was he doing there?
I was hoping perhaps you could tell me.
I honestly don't know. Ronan hardly went out, and he especially never crossed the river.
Why was that?
I think he was just too scared of the world to go out and see it for himself. He was happy enough reading about it in his books or collecting things I brought him back from my travels. Honestly, that's what I liked most about him. He was just an average, boring man. It was just the sort of balance I needed in my life.
That's pretty much the exact same reason I always enjoyed working with you, Miles.
You and Ronan had a special relationship, didn't you?
Mr. Fordham, we're in an underground club. You don't have to tap dance around it. Yes, Ronan and I were a couple. At least up until last month.
What happened, if you don't mind me asking?
We had a misunderstanding. Ronan thought I had been seeing someone else. He was extremely jealous. I tried to explain that he had it all wrong, but he wouldn't hear me out. I was going to give him some time to cool off, but, well, that's not going to happen now, is it?
If it's any consolation, I found a letter you wrote him, which he still kept in his desk.
Damn. Thank you for telling me that.
Where does the name Jimbo come from?
It's just a nickname. My real name's James Bowcroft.
And what is it you do?
I'm a sailor. I thought you detective types were supposed to be extra observant. Shouldn't you be able to tell me what my occupation was just by looking at my fingernails or something?
Sorry to disappoint. Perceptiveness is important in my line of work, but I'm also just a man.
I think perhaps Jimbo has been reading too many of those detective stories in Brentwell's.
Do you have any opinions about the recent election?
Not really. I'm usually way at sea, so I don't keep up with politics. The sea's got her own laws. Anyway, I can't vote, so it's really none of my concern.
But you're still affected by the decisions the Prime Minister makes.
Not very fair, is it, Mr. Fordham?
No, I suppose it isn't. Thank you for your time.
You're welcome.
Something tells me we've reached a dead end. You should give Mrs. Morgan the bad news.
Declare the case unsolvable. What? Okay. Is she gonna give us some new info? That's my only option.
Have you got time for a few more questions, Mrs. Morgan?
Yes, of course.
I've completed my investigation of your brother's murder, Mrs. Morgan.
You have? Oh, that's such a relief to hear. Who killed him?
I'm afraid I don't know.
What?
I had some leads, but I botched things. I wasn't able to follow through. I'm sorry.
Well, some detective you turned out to be. I can't understand why you were so highly recommended.
Again, I'm truly sorry, Miss.
No.
Oh, it's because of the opium
Good day to you,
den
Miss-
thing. I messed up the opium den.
You know, Miles, what's going
All right, we gotta
Thank you for
reload.